These are some of my first babies since I turned the heat back up to start these guys breeding again. Are ready to breed. It's going to take another 70 days or so before they actually give birth. So I'm just going to show you my setup here. It's just a bin. It's actually shorter than what a lot of people use, and I do have to cut my egg crates down just to keep the roaches from reaching the top, because you're going to want to put ventilation holes in it, and I used it's like a nylon or a fiberglass screen on here, and the roaches can actually chew through this, and that's why I cut the egg crates down so they couldn't reach it. So if you're going to use screen, make sure the roaches can't get to it, or use a metal screen. So that's the first step. You want to give them plenty of spaces to hide. You see, I've got some egg crates in here. I don't have them all the way across just because the colony's not that big yet. But I've seen people stack them laying flat, and I wouldn't recommend doing that, because when they go to the bathroom, it'll collect in these egg crates, and that's a good way to grow some fungus or mold in there. So if you stack them like this, then it just falls right through to the bottom. Makes it a whole lot easier to clean. And you want to make sure that you're giving them the proper humidity, and what they need in order to breed is to have humidity that's between 40 and 60%. And all I do to keep my humidity up is I've got this jar of water in here. I just drilled some holes in the top to let the humidity escape, and I'll just have to refill this like every 2 or 3 weeks. So make sure you keep their humidity up between 40 and 60%. And you're going to have to heat them. The temperatures for the breeding range is between 85 and 90 degrees. And there's several ways that you can reach that temperature. And one is, if you have a place in a room that stays that warm, you can just set them next to a heat vent, or like I keep mine up on a shelf that's up near the ceiling. So in the wintertime, I don't have to put any heat on them. They'll just breed because it's that warm up there. But in the summertime, when I'm running the air conditioner, I use a heat mat. And I actually just made a platform that the heat mat attaches to the underside of it, and then I set the bin on top of it. Because it is up so high, I don't want to be dragging a cord down every time I have to bring the roach bin down. You can use heat tape, you can use heat rope, or if you have a big enough hole in your top, you can just set a heat lamp on top. But you want to make sure you don't overheat them, because if you overheat them, they're not going to breed either. So to breed them, try to keep them between 85 and 90 degrees. And you don't want to have way too many females to male ratio in there. The optimal ratio of female to male is between 3 females for every 1 male up to 7 females to 1 male. And that way there's plenty of females to go around, and there's not near as much competition between the males trying to breed with the females. Now, a lot of people think that Dubia roaches are live bearers, but what happens is the female will display her egg sac when she's ready to breed. Which the females only breed when they want to breed. The males are pretty much ready to go most of the time, but the female will display her egg sac, and then the males will attempt to mate with her, and then once she's been fertilized, she'll withdraw that egg sac and keep it inside of her until she feels the nymphs moving around getting ready to hatch, and then she'll just lay that egg sac out, and the nymphs will hatch shortly after that. So She actually does carry eggs, but she spits them out right before they hatch, so she doesn't live bear anything. And when you're feeding them, you don't want to just feed them the roach food that you can find online that's pre-made and everything. You want to give them a variety, because the different roaches have different requirements. The nymphs will want to eat more protein than anything as they grow, and then as they grow, they'll move more towards fruits and vegetables, which are carbohydrates. Now the males, once they're full grown, they will tend to stick to more carbs than protein, and the powders are really high in protein, so the males are going to go for the fruits and vegetables. The females, on the other hand, will kind of alternate. Sometimes they want more protein, so they'll eat the powder, and sometimes they want more carbs, so they'll eat the fruits and vegetables. But you need to give them a variety of food, because they know what they want to eat or what they need to eat, and that's what they'll eat. So in order to give them proper nutrition, you need to supply both protein and carbohydrates. And if you're using fresh food, like I've got apples and carrots in there that I just put in there this morning, you want to make sure that you're using organic, because you really don't want them ingesting any pesticides if you're feeding these to reptiles or amphibians. So you don't want to pass that along, so make sure you feed your roaches a good diet. For water, for them to drink, I'm just using water crystals, which you can see they've defecated in all over already. But when you make those, you want to make sure that you're using distilled water, bottled water, or tap water that you've treated with something like Reptisafe, just to make sure that their water is safe as well. And I think that is just about it. That's all I've got. Once this colony grows some more, I will just fill this whole spot out with the egg crates. But like I said, right now it's not a very big colony. Let's see if I can pull one of these out. So you can see there's some nymphs in there too. That's pretty much it. I'm going to get them back on their heat and see if they'll breed some more for me.